Installing a new trigger in a Glock type pistol for educational purposes only. If you want to install your own trigger, be sure to have a licensed gunsmith double check your work and verify that all safeties, such as the drop safety, are working correctly before loading and using your firearm. Before starting, I also just want to mention that some new triggers you may buy might come with a trigger bar as a free gift. From experience, I wouldn't use them. They may look similar, but there must be a slight difference between them and the originals. If you need to know how to remove the original trigger shoe from the bar, you're welcome to watch my video on doing that. It will appear in a link at the end of this video. Okay, so today I'm installing a red anodized aluminum trigger into my Polymer 80 today. First I loosen the far back screw and slip the trigger bar into the slot. It sometimes takes a while to match the screw up with the hole in the trigger bar, but eventually you'll get it. Then you can screw in the furthest back screw on the left side of the trigger shoe all the way in. Next I had to attach the trigger bar to the trigger housing. A small spring attaches to the end of the trigger bar and to the housing. Unfortunately, my video cut part of that off, so you can't exactly see it, but I think most of you know how to connect them. And here is a photo montage that shows how to do it. You just need to connect the little hole on the trigger bar to the spring. Once it was connected, then I inserted the trigger and the trigger housing into the pistol frame. Next I installed the locking block pin, which is the pin above the trigger pin. My pin went in easily because I've removed it so many times. I also sprayed a little WD-40 on the pins before I insert them. After that, I lined up the slide release hole on the left side of the trigger hole and installed the trigger pin. This can be a somewhat frustrating step to get them all lined up properly so that the trigger pin will go in. And it may take a while, but you'll eventually get it. My last pin was the one trigger housing pin, which I tapped in with a small hammer. Then I used a punch to insert the pin evenly recessed from each side because it is a bit shorter than the grip frame. Mine is a plastic pin and can bend if the housing is not properly aligned, or if the hole was not accurately drilled in the correct place. After finishing the trigger installation, I placed a slide on the pistol to see if the trigger would reset after it was pulled. As stated before, when I used the free gift bar, or trigger bar that came with the trigger I had purchased, the trigger would not reset. Using the old bar, the trigger does reset. Now, here is another old Polymer 80 that has the rear plastic rails. It was one of the original ones that was made. I installed the aluminum trigger on this one too. Again, remember to have a gunsmith double check any installation work you do for yourself on your pistol. This video was produced for educational purposes only and is not intended to be a guide for the professional installation of a trigger. Thanks for watching the Psychoto channel.
Just click here to subscribe to the Psychoto channel. Well, what are you waiting for? Subscribe already. Why don't you?